Jordan Davis starting to play better. Are the Eagles and Howie Roseman vindicated for the move in the offseason? Plus, we'll talk about A.J. Brown and the Eagles' resurgent offense in the second half this week against the Rams. It's all coming up on the PHLY Eagles Show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the PHLY Eagles Show, live from the Xfinity Mobile Studio and presented by Bet365 and Ashley Furniture. My name is Rich Hofmann. Right next to me is Jamie Lynch. And guys, we have a loaded show for you today. We have an interview with Bo Wolf and Reed Blankenship, who is the starting safety for your 3-0 Philadelphia Eagles. We will talk to E.J. Smith and his red microphone from the NovaCare complex.
Actually, Rich, he does not have the red microphone today. He did give me the heads up. He's only got his AirPods with him.
Is it really an EJ interview without the red microphone?
He left the devil's mic at home today.
We will find out on that front. And then at the end, Bo will talk to All-City NFL insider Adam Hoge. I think they'll have a little talk about why the AFC, overrated conference, Jamie. But we have a jam-packed show for you today. And James, I have a couple things I want to get to in the first segment. The big takeaways from what was just an amazing game.
I still can't believe that game.
What a roller coaster ride that was. And the first one is, Jamie, I was in the post-game locker room, and A.J. Brown, I thought his post-game interview was very interesting. And I feel like this has been a theme over the past year or so, where A.J. Brown, he gets back on track in the second half of that game. Amazing effort by A.J. And he has a couple of very interesting quotes where he basically says, they got me the ball. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And, he has been very cognizant, I feel like, about what he says and trying not to be the Devo wide receiver. He feels like the microscope is on him. And thank you, Julia, for putting this up. I thought this was an amazing quote, though, after the game. He says, I truly believe, man, we got so many good players on this team. And at times you can feel like we're being conservative. And I don't think it should be like that. I think it should be, let your killers do their thing. That's the big quote there. Let your killers do their thing. I think he says a little bit afterwards, just let us go out there and hoop. But I thought it was a very telling quote when you stack that up with that, along with Jalen Hurts saying very similar things to Pam Oliver on the Fox broadcast, basically volunteering like, yeah, we just got to play a more aggressive style of ball. What did you make of all of that?
I love it. He's absolutely right. I mean, you saw him physically change the vibes of the entire stadium. Like, he took over that game. He was throwing guys off of him. He got the crowd, which was Vinny showed up like a little earlier than he normally does because he's down at the games a lot. And I rode the elevator up with him.
Curry.
Yeah, old Vinny Curry. And he was like, man, the vibes are bad. He was like, that was like Andy's last year bad. Like, he was like, it reminded me of Chip Kelly last year vibes. Like, he said it was so bad down there that he left. That's how bad it was. And I thought there was no way in hell you were going to bounce back from that. I was like, oh man, Vinny's like painting this picture of like despair here. And A.J. Brown and Jordan Davis single-handedly took over the game. A.J. Brown, like, Jordan Davis won the game. A.J. Brown got that stadium back into it, got his team back into it. Once that first catch happened where he said he just kind of threw his hand out and, like, I think he said God took over from there or whatever, the stadium, like, got life. And I think Jalen Hurts got fired up. And, like, you saw the offense just feed off of A.J. Brown, tossing guys off of him, making one-handed spectacular catches. He changed the entire vibe of that game. A.J. Brown was incredible. And how you could go 2 games without, whatever you want to call it, force-feeding him, getting him the ball, is beyond me, but it can't happen anymore.
sometimes I do feel like we oversimplify it where, just get AJ the ball. But I looked back at his 6 catches, James, and actually the first one, which elicited a very loud Bronx cheer from the,
which is very funny.
From the locals where, they were like, finally, they got him the ball. It's so
Philadelphia's perfected the Bronx cheer. We're very good at it.
Do you think it should be called
the
Delaware Valley cheer?
Yeah.
Something like that. Let us know in the chat, or should I say chat? Did you see that one yesterday? Yeah, that was there was quite an argument over chat or the chat. But anyway, 4 of AJ's 6 catches yesterday, James. Or not yesterday, this week. So I'm so bad with saying that it was yesterday when it was 4 days ago. Were a 3x1 set where basically they love the 2x2, and it feels like a lot of AJ's more predictable routes early on in this season where he's just kind of running that little in and it's very easy to cover. He's on the same side with Grant Calcaterra or some tight end. They isolated him on the backside of the 3x1 set, and they just let him beast people too. It was crazy kind of watching it in the stadium because you have a better sort of all 22 view from the press box, and you're like, on that Emmanuel Forbes play at the end, there is nothing like intricate about that. It's just go beat that guy one-on-one. And it was the same thing that happened on the touchdown pass. By the way, you can see as Julia puts up the route chart for AJ. We got some intermediate and even some deep balls too. That sluggo down the right side was a beautiful route, but there really wasn't too much fancy going on there. It was just AJ beat the man across from you, and he did it pretty consistently. James, I got to say, Bo, he mentioned this on the post-game show on Sunday. I was at peace with that game, whether or not Jordan Davis makes that play, because I thought, okay, you learned a valuable lesson here that you can't play this way. There needs to be a more aggressive style. And like you said, too, there's an intangible value to this team where they did not quit. Now,
which is one of Sirianni's strengths, to give him, like they never really quit on him.
Now, is it great for the Eagles that they are so freaking talented that the rules of football don't apply to them and they can learn a lesson? Man, we can't be doing that. But actually, we kind of can be doing that because we're so talented to get back in the game and win. But yeah, it was great to see AJ get back on track. Jalen find him. Excellent performance in the second half.
Yeah, you just got to get him the ball. Like you talk about it, simplifying it. Yeah, simplified. The guy has the best catch rate of contested balls in the entire NFL. He can make something short into something big. He can go get the deep ball. He can literally do whatever is asked of him and have a huge impact on the game. So, yes, please, Nick and Kevin Patullo, simplify this down to just get the ball in his general direction and something good will happen. Like you can't have 2 games, whatever it was, whether it's Patullo or Jalen or AJ not being healthy, maybe a combination of all 3. You can't let what happened in the first 2 weeks happen for more than like a quarter or 2 in the rest of the year. He's too good.
And I got to say, AJ Brown, to bring it back to his post-game comments, man, he's spot on. If he wants to be a part of the PHLY Eagles show when he's done playing, like he's spitting. Like his assessment of the offense is so accurate.
To grab him in here one day.
Absolutely. And I do think he notices that if he says things plainly in a way that he might not even view as controversial, just like, yeah, we're not playing that well, we got to start playing better, I'm not freaking out or anything. He senses that it becomes a storyline, though, because, hey, I'm the guy. I notice in those post-game locker rooms that those scrums are huge for AJ. He's the guy that people want to talk to after every single game. He's cognizant of that. He says, I'm not trying to give you guys headlines. Nick Sirianni actually complimented him about that this week, where he was like, I thought he handled all of the questions very well. It's funny that Nick Sirianni started with, I thought he handled the questions really well, instead of like, wow, man, he really just like bailed us out in this game, But anyway, that's also a part of it. I think AJ Brown has sort of navigated that sort of idea pretty well, and that he's going to be somebody that people might take out of context quotes from.
Absolutely,
he's careful with his words. But after this game,
what's the book that changed his whole life?
Inner Excellence by Jim Murray.
Yeah, that's right. It's good work by you.
Yeah. So
maybe we have Jim Murray to thank.
Exactly.
Like he's focused on the right things. He kind of has clarity, and thank you, Jim Murray. No, not Jim. Jim Murphy.
Oh, is it Jim Murphy? Yeah,
I don't remember. I interviewed him at the Super Bowl. It's bad work by me.
Okay. Anyway, we just gave him a plug for his book again. So that was one part of it, right? And you have AJ Brown. And
Is there other books out there that people should get about the Eagles? Is there any new releases these days?
Yeah, there might be.
Well, I'll have to look into that.
Maybe go to your local bookstore. I think check the Eagles section at the front. I think there might be a new hardcover book for you guys to read. Yeah. So that was one part of it. And then you have Jordan Davis saving the day.
Unbelievable.
So let's talk about Jordan Davis. Jamie, the first thing I would say, should we get a radar gun out and see how fast all of us can run?
Did you see Kyle from Crossing Broad did this with the car speedometer thing yesterday?
Did he do it?
Yes, he did. And he said, like, send me your scores. I thought it was pretty good little bit by him. He got up to 16 miles an hour.
I think all of us should do that. I am a sucker for blabbermouths like us who pontificate on the Eagles at all times, looking unathletic. Like, I want to give that content to the people because it's something that I get a real kick out of from other media.
What do you think you could top out at?
You said he got the 16 miles an hour?
And that was rough, like the car drive by flashing the mile per hour. Like, he got 16 and he looked fairly, washed doing it.
I don't feel like I could do much better than that.
No, I think I'm topping out at maybe 14.
14? Yeah.
Maybe.
Keeping it in the school zone range?
Yeah. I'm safe to run through a school zone. Look at that big guy run. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting more than 14 miles an hour. So, like, I was blown away, and I don't know if you caught it on the post-game show. I started asking Fran right away. I was like, Fran, you're Franny Films, man. You've been clocking guys in your mind for years here. I was like, if I set the line, and I gotta pat myself on the back for being the line setter here. At first, I was like 19.2, and Bo goes, that's a little high. And I was like, okay, the other one I was thinking about was 18.7. So I was like, if I set the line at 18.7, would you take over or under, Fran? And Fran was like, over 18.7, under 19.2. And he came in at what, 18.5, I think it was. That's really good work by Jordan Davis. He was scooting, man.
He was hauling. And I think we should talk a little bit about his offseason Peloton usage and all that stuff. But Jamie, we do have some breaking news, and it's not great news.
Uh-oh. Injury?
The Eagles have announced that they have signed, this is the first part of it, they have signed Marcus Epps, Cameron Latu, and those are guys who have gotten practice squad elevations, and Perry Nickerson to the active roster, and they have placed 3 players on the injured reserve.
Ooh.
Let's go in order here, from probably least consequential to most, and apologies to Bo with his guy here. I think Darius Cooper, he has been getting some.
He went to the 10 on the opening second half kickoff, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been getting some push usage. I don't know, but he's on IR. Then you have Jakorian Bennett, who played at the end of the game.
Oh, no.
Last week.
That's not good.
He is also on IR. Well, it's about to get worse.
Oh, no.
Nolan Smith to the injured reserve. I believe Adam Schefter broke that news.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's not good for the Eagles.
Oh, no. I didn't even know that was on the radar.
Yeah.
Did you hear that he was even hurt?
I did not pick that up. I mean, he's been fairly quiet in the first few games. I mean,
yes.
The big play that I thought he made were some of those 4th down stops against Kansas City. I know people remember the taunting penalty, kind of the BS one against Dallas in game 1, but that's a big issue. Right?
Oh, man.
Zadarius Smith, you better be ready for a whole bunch of snaps now.
That was one of your thinner positions, and Nolan Smith was supposed to be your best at that position. That is a major blow to the Birds. That stinks.
Well, and he was a guy who was dealing with, I forget exactly what the injury was, but he was banged up a little bit in training camp as well. Guy on the smaller side who, we all know the Nolan Smith story, where he is a smaller player who plays with a level of physicality that is frankly awesome, but you do worry about the wear and tear that playing at that crazy level of physicality will lead to. Hopefully Nolan Smith's okay. I mean, IR is, right, that's 4 weeks. So, the Eagles, I'm blanking on what their schedule is right now. I know the next 2 weeks are it's Tampa Bay this week.
In the heat.
It's Denver back in Philadelphia.
You do have a Giants game on Thursday night, I think, in there in the next 4. So it goes Bucks, Broncos, Giants, Vikings.
Okay. So those are the 4 games.
And Vikings, JJ McCarthy, I think his expected return is around that game as well. So you could be facing Carson Wentz. You could be facing JJ McCarthy. Broncos, they're kind of, I mean, that's a winnable game, I think, without those guys. Bucs is, I think, going to be the toughest one of this 4 right now. Although Brian Flores and that Vikings defense is the boogeyman. But
I think Todd Bowles is a little more of a boogeyman.
Yeah, that's fair.
Able to run the ball.
You're going to see Jackson Dart and Sam Scadaboo. So we'll see. The Giants could change over the course of the next 2 weeks and be more formidable. But you can manage this.
You're looking at Jalen Hunt. You're looking at Zadarius Smith, Josh Uche. And
does Ojulari get called up now?
Well, you have Ojulari and Agbo Okoronkwo, who have been inactive for all 3 games. And that's been something that among Eagles beat writers before games, they're kind of saying, why are they keeping all these guys on the roster if they're not going to use these edge rushers? Maybe they get some use out of them. But yeah, certainly a big blow to the Eagles. I mean, Nolan Smith is...
Todd Green saying torn tricep for Nolan Smith in the chat.
Well, that was his injury in the
season. I hope he didn't redo it.
That's
torn pec. Joe Rockhead is saying. Everybody in the chats, thanks. We're live in show, so we're trying to decipher the specificness of this IR
As
trip.
you can see, we're trying to digest this news.
Oh man, that sucks.
So Ian Rappaport says yes, he tweaked the same triceps that he had surgery on, but
it's not torn.
Rap Sheet says he should be back soon.
Okay. I mean, that sucks when it's the same injury that resurfaces like that. That always sends a shiver down my spine a little bit. Like BG, tore it again as soon as he returned to play. That stinks.
Yeah,
there's no way to sugarcoat this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think Uncle Vic is going to have to do, he's going to have to get even more creative. He's going to have to work with some of his sim pressures. And a lot's going to be on, the Jordan Davises, the Jalen Carters to get pressure.
The thought that just came to my head was,
Ojimo.
Are there some packages where Jihaad Campbell can be put on the edge and used there, but you don't, and maybe Trot Jr. is better as a replacement linebacker in some sub packages.
Vic has blitzed a lot for him.
So maybe we see Jihaad unleashed a little bit in the edge rusher scenario
he's been blitzing a lot. I mean, even on that Zach Bond pick, Jihaad Campbell.
Oh, he blew. It was a great blitz by Jihaad.
He was blitzing. Now, I do think was it a blitz? I need to go back and look because there might have been I believe it was a J-Lex dropping into coverage.
J-Lex dropped into coverage a bunch, so it could have been one of those. But Jihaad blasted some dude.
You're probably going to have to get creative. So that is a bummer. No sugarcoating that, but we have to get moving with our show. So we will talk to you in a few seconds after hearing from some of our friends. Xfinity, guys. The other day, I was over at a friend's place and he was all pumped to watch football, but his setup, it was a total mess. Lagging, buffering, and switching between apps trying to find the game. He claimed that he was a big fan, but I felt like I have been fan-fished. See, if you call yourself a football fan, you gotta have Xfinity. It is the ultimate sports destination. I can find the best games and my favorite teams all in one place. And the way that I watch, it's next level. It's the perfect fan flex, and I've got all the action right there in my living room. Plus, Xfinity's best picture and sound with enhanced 4K, so it feels like I am at the link watching the birds. And sometimes, James, I got 4 games going at once because why not? And on top of that, I get real-time notifications and live stats right there on my TV. It's the best seat in the house every single time. Next game, make sure that big fan isn't a big fail and learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Restrictions apply. Multi-view requires Xfinity 4K cable TV box.
Growing up, I always wanted a Ford Explorer. I just thought it was the coolest car in the world because it had room, it had comfort, it was cool. And guess what? To this day, it's still one of the best SUVs of all time. It's got a legacy of family, trust, and performance with it. It's got rear-wheel drive, intelligent four-wheel drives, comes with a choice of 3 different powertrains. It's got the EcoBoost. It's got all the tech you're looking for. It's packed with the Ford Copilot 360, a suite of advanced driver assist features, range management system. This baby is tricked out with everything you could want out of a family SUV. It's perfect for the lots, the mountains, the shore, whatever it may be. Rear seat passengers can also opt in for the captain's chairs, which are just the coolest. And of course, it comes with Apple CarPlay and all the bells and whistles you're looking for. It's built for families, but ready for adventure. The true do-it-all SUV. For more information on the Explorer, visit your local Ford store.
And welcome back to the PHLY Eagles Show, presented by Bet365. And Ashley, we are going to go to an interview that our own Bo Wolf did with your own starting safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, Reed Blankenship, for a few minutes. And then Jamie and I will read all of the tweets about Nolan Smith and try to have a few more coherent thoughts on it.
Other than this sucks.
It does suck. Yeah. Okay. Bo and Reed coming up now.
All right, we're back on the PHLY Eagles podcast. We've got one of the exciting mics with us right now, Reed Blankenship. And Reed, I got to ask you about, the block at the end of the game. Give us what was your vantage point for that play? What was going through your mind? I'm sure you've talked about it quite a bit.
So at first, I started, I think, right in line with the kicker.
Okay.
And then that's when Sirianni called the timeout. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just move on down a little bit and just get like a better view. So I was a little bit kind of away from the mess.
Behind the play?
Behind the play.
Okay.
So like maybe I was on the 50-yard line.
Okay.
And I think Cooper's actually in front of me. I take a knee. I'm saying quiet prayers, doing whatever. But you have that feeling, that's like there is something could happen. And obviously, snap happened. You see the front line just cave in. And lo and behold, Big JD come through.
Now, did you start by? I mean, obviously they had blocked the last kick. So it's on your mind,
right?
Was that where your eyes were trained? Were you watching that specific spot?
Yeah, I'm watching like right above the snapper's head. Like that's obviously where it happened last time. So I'm like, all right, if we gonna get it again, it's gonna be right there. And sure enough, here goes JD. And I thought he was just gonna get on it and just knee it, whatever. But no, he said, I'm gonna show off my speed. He said, I'm gonna shut all the doubters up and just take off. So
did you have to stop yourself from running on the field before it was too early?
Yes, I think I was actually on like the coaches area. I'm running down, had to dodge. Like there's headphones flying everywhere, helmets everywhere. I was dodging, and obviously when he crossed the goal line, that's when I really took off.
So my question about JD is, he makes this play in the middle at the end of what was already like a dominating game for him. He is like the king of the city in Philadelphia on Sunday. Like, what do you think his Sunday night was like?
I have no idea. No telling. I'm sure he celebrated, but hopefully took it easy and hydrated enough for.
I'm sure he was very responsible, but you only get that once. You get to be
you never know though. It could happen again. You never say never. Maybe hopefully we're not ever in that situation ever again. But I'm happy for him. I'm glad he made a big play like that. He deserves it.
All right, let's spin this forward to the Bucs game this weekend. And it is funny, week 4 was the same week that the game in Tampa was last year. That was the last game of the pre-Cooper DeJean era. A year later,
oh my gosh, yeah,
we get the podcast, we get the Super Bowl. So this is like a bygone era.
Right.
But what are like the memories of that game? Because it has been a place where you guys have had some tough times in the past.
Yeah, I don't really have really good memories there.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. It's a tough place to play, but like the heat was a little bit of a factor last year, but I feel like this year we kind of know how to deal with it, and obviously it starts right now. You got to prepare as early as possible and just play our game. Don't overthink stuff, and like I said, just do what we do.
To me, I think of that game as a testament to like not getting ahead of ourselves early in the
Right.
season
Absolutely.
because it's week 4. It seems like, oh man, like, oh, they're letting up so many easy passes,
Right.
and then 2 weeks later, you guys turn into the best defense in football, right? And it's a testament to
Hmm.
sometimes patience is rewarded. It takes some time for you.
You got to
guys
work out your
to-
kinks, man. I mean, we're still learning to play with each other a lot and communicating a lot. And I mean, we still have guys that haven't experienced, a lot of football at this level. Like, Andrew. Andrew's one of them. He's doing really, really good right now. Jihaad's doing really good right now. And just continue to be consistent with that, and I'm excited for him. I love playing with him, but it's gonna be a challenge, like I said, but I'm excited. So
Now, you said I got to get to the bottom of this. Andrew or Drew?
I say Drew. He
You
goes
do
by
say
Drew.
Drew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did I say Andrew?
You said Andrew, but
I think
we're being formal there. It's okay.
I don't know why I said Andrew, but I do say Drew. He goes by Drew in the locker room.
And how does how is that process going from your vantage point, working out the kinks with Drew?
Really smooth, like really smooth. I say kinks, but it's not like it's a bad thing. Obviously, you gotta learn how to play with somebody. And in training camp, unfortunately, he had some injuries here and there. But some of the times that we were playing together, we're communicating. He listens to me. He's smart. He kind of just knows what's about to happen. It's like the anticipation factor, which you don't really see a lot in rookies. I mean, Cooper had it. Quinion had it. But like he has it too, and Jihaad. So they're not really playing like rookies, and that's what you love to see, especially this early in the season.
All right, last one for you is you are a vet now,
Yeah, it's
but
crazy.
you are this is your first season as a podcaster.
Yeah.
How are you adjusting to to my line of business? How are you adjusting to podcast life?
It's tough. I mean, it's tough. I mean, we're 3-0
You're not
right now,
kidding.
so I'm sure it'll be different if things happen. But it's good. I feel like people really get to see who we are outside of football and just be ourselves. We're not these big celebrities. I'm just a normal dude that likes
Figuring
to talk.
figuring out what to do in a 3x1 set or reading an ad,
Yeah.
which is more difficult.
Probably reading an ad, honestly. My brain cuts off when I'm trying to read an ad, and people can attest to that. So,
All right, well, Reed, we look forward to this week's episode of the Exciting Mics. We'll talk to you down the line. We appreciate you.
yeah, of course, appreciate y'all.
All right, back with more on the PHLY Eagles podcast.
And thank you, Mr. Wolf. We are back live on the PHLY Eagles Show. Rich Hofmann with Jamie Lynch. And James, yeah, I mean, the Nolan Smith news, it is a bummer. It seems like, just from reading some of the tweets from the beat writers, including our EJ Smith, who's going to be on the show maybe without his red microphone, but hopefully to give us a little more intel on this. But to read a quote from EJ, he says, "My understanding is that all 3 of these injuries should allow for mid-season returns, perhaps around the week 9 bye." So if that's all it is,
you can survive. It's not a death blow. It's going to be I think Uncle Vic becomes the most important guy in that building right now, because he's going to have to, Nolan, I don't know if you have the snap counts handy and can pull them up, but like I would imagine Nolan's probably a 65, 70%er on the defensive end group. So he's going to have to get creative. Zadarius Smith is probably going to pick up the majority, but what do they do now? Does Ojolari get run? Does Jihaad get a little run at defensive end and Trotter Jr. come in? He's going to have to get creative to create pressure, because we saw week 1, Rich, versus the Cowboys. You didn't really have much cooking in terms of the edge pressure, and you saw the effect it had on that game. So he has to replace basically their highest snap percentage defensive end, and that's no easy task.
He is their highest snap percentage defensive end by a mile. 85% in week 1, 73% in week 2, and 70% in week 3. You got to imagine, I mean, Jalix Hunt is going to start playing a lot of snaps. Josh Uche maybe on passing downs.
Uncle Vic, he's on your side.
Zadarius Smith playing.
Give him a little head tap. Let's go, Vic. I believe
give him a little head tap.
Yeah, I believe in you, Vic.
There we go. I'm so bad at this.
It's so much harder than people realize, too.
This should be Julia just cracking up in the background. This should be a weekly segment. Rich cannot calibrate where his limbs are in the YouTube. Oh my gosh.
Let's get a little thumbs up for Uncle Vic. Come on.
Don't make me do that anymore. Oh my God. I'm like reaching off the screen on that. Like put my arm around. I'm putting my arm around. Like, here you go, buddy. Yeah.
That was great.
That's so embarrassing. Okay.
No, to everybody in the chat, it's way harder than you think it would be. I got your back a little bit.
I hope
difficult.
so. Man, that's so embarrassing. Again, it's like we were talking about earlier, like the idea of us trying to run 10 miles an hour or whatever it is. Anything that makes us look less athletic, or I think the people would like. So somebody who is athletic, Darius Smith, 33% and 36% in his first two games.
Okay, you figure there's a little bit of a learning curve.
A little bit of a ramp up. I've enjoyed what I've seen from Darius Smith so
I would
far.
think automatically, his first game was like wildly impressive. Not as all over the place in game 2. That's fine, but I would imagine he becomes a 55% guy this weekend, at a minimum.
Yeah. And look, it's some of it is next man up, and some of it is that the pressure is going to have to come more from the interior guys. Now they're going to play.
He dates somebody famous that popped up on my. I didn't know who she was, but she's apparently quite famous.
I think a musical artist of some sort.
I think so. Yeah. It like popped up on my Instagram algorithm, and I was like. And I asked my wife, I was like, do you know who this is? She was like, no. And I was like, well, we're washed, so that makes sense. But apparently quite a famous girlfriend.
I don't know what anything is anymore. So that being washed is, I mean, that's just every day you're on the internet in these.
Oh, is the rapper Cash Doll.
Cash Doll.
Yeah.
Good for Darius and Cash Doll. But hopefully.
Speaking of girlfriends real quick, I'm sorry, I know I'm sidetracking you.
Man, you really are.
Yeah. Devontae Smith, did you see his Instagram post about the security guard? It was so funny.
Big Dom's got to get that guy in line. Come on, buddy. Clean it up.
So funny.
If you know, you know. Just search Devontae Smith security guard. Maybe. By the way, Devontae Smith, not in the ad.
It's like the meme in real life.
Yes. He actually was looking over the shoulder in that same way. So we talked a little bit about Jordan Davis, and that's somebody who is going to have to step up from the inside. I got to say, James, the fact that Jordan Davis, I think it was like the second day of training camp, he shows up and he's at the podium and he's looking slim. And it's, obviously that is best shape of my life season. That's not always the case, right? When the games actually start, but he did look slimmed down.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that the preseason hype has actually translated to the games, where Jordan Davis has played 2 of his 3 games are 2 of the 3 highest snap counts in his NFL career. The only other one was that crazy Bills game a few years ago, by the way.
Where he chased down Josh Allen.
Chased down Josh Allen, sort of like the Matthew Stafford play, but then a lot more difficult.
And kind of broke after that.
He hit a major wall. In fairness, everybody on that Eagles front hit a major wall. The pencil was calling plays. It was all a disaster. But 2 of the 3 highest snap counts already for Jordan Davis. And I looked, the Chiefs game, which was a lower total, it was more snaps than he played in any game post-bye last year. And remember, it was an early bye. So we're talking about, 14, 15 games where he has played a lot. And then at the end of that stretch, I think it's so fitting that a guy who got on that Peloton and really worked on his fitness, he makes a play on the last play of the game when you're supposed to be the most tired. And he just bull rushes that LA Rams field goal block unit, pushes them back, and then runs 18 miles an hour or whatever it is. I just thought that was awesome. That's like an awesome story. EJ had a great story for our diehards on allphly.com, talking to the man with the greatest name in the world, Jeremiah Alphabet, his trainer, Jordan Davis.
That is a wild name.
That is a great name. Sorry, I got sidetracked by saying it. But anyway, the point is, Jordan Davis, great story early on. I hope he can sustain it, because this is a heavy workload for him earlier in the season, but he's been very good to start.
Yeah, it makes the 18.5 miles an hour, the fastest ever run by a 300+ pound man or whatever in NFL history, more impressive, to your point, because he played so many snaps and he had to be exhausted at that point. He's blocked 2 kicks and he took off like a bat out of hell. It's great to see the work, kind of pay off. The clip from training camp that we had put out, and I'm sure others did too, about him talking about, actually losing like the 26 pounds. And it kind of like was very relevant this week because, yeah, most times when you hear Joel Embiid's in the best shape of his life, as you know, maybe
We'll
not
see.
the case. Yeah. And Jordan Davis very much looks to be the case. And it's an awesome story because he's such a likable guy. He's got a great smile. He seems to get it. His teammates seem to love him. He's a guy you really want to root for. And, you know, we all heard the Kyle Hamilton comparisons, and Kyle Hamilton's an all-pro at a position you needed for a while there. So it's good to see Jordan Davis kind of have his glow up here and tell all the Kyle Hamilton people like, hey, back off. I'm still getting there.
Yeah, hopefully it's a BG Earl Thomas sort of arc.
Yeah, I mean,
Jordan Davis plays for a long time.
Not that they give out all pros after 3 games, but I saw some chatter online that it's picking up. Like Jordan Davis is playing at an all-pro level through 3 games.
Yeah, and as Todd in chat mentions,
What up, Todd?
am I saying that right? In chat, I'm so confused.
I would say the chat.
I'm so confused with these.
Wait, who
articles
was
now.
pro? I was busy yesterday.
EJ was pro chat. Bo
was the chat.
Yeah.
I'm on both sides on that one.
Again, I just don't know what to think now.
Do you think EJ knows who Cash Doll is?
Maybe we
got a lot to
can
get
ask
to
him
with
in
EJ.
a few minutes. As Todd mentioned, though, there have been some funny Jordan Davis, Forrest Gump memes with him continuing to run.
I saw a Rocky running through the Italian market one. We have a new shirt. I mean, the guy's immortalized forever on a T-shirt now. It was the Jordan Davis game, as EJ famously coined it. You know, like he made his mark on Philadelphia this past weekend. It was an incredible storyline, incredible game. Just I'm pretty happy for Jordan Davis, like just selfishly.
And last thing before we get to a break here is that before the season, Howie Roseman picked up his 2026 outfit
Last day,
which
too.
was the iconic graphic exercise graphic, but it was controversial because at that point, you know, Jordan Davis is coming off a season where he only played 37% of the snaps. And it was a hefty option because, you know, like he was a first round pick.
Was he 14th overall? What was he?
Yeah, it was in that range.
Yeah.
$12.9 million. And it was like, is he worth that at this point? And so we're at a point where I think some people brought up the option might have been maybe you could have extended him at a lower number. But, you know, when you pick up that option, it gets to the point where, okay, you have Jordan Davis at a pretty reasonable number for one more year, or it's a disaster if he plays 37% of the snaps and you're the Eagles and you're trying to get out of giving all of these mid-tier salaries. You're going to a stars and young guy salary structure. Well, it's early. He's going to have to keep it going. Hopefully the Eagles can get him a little more rest and don't have to rely on him quite as much. But if he keeps up this level of play, I think he's clearly worth that $12.9 million next year. Maybe there will be an extension down the line. That is a good start for Jordan Davis. All right, James, we need to get to a few more of our friends. I think you have the first one for us. So we will be back after we do that.
And let me tell you why it's never ordinary at Bet365. There's over 90 million users worldwide. They stream over 780,000 events every single year, and they have some of the best payout offers across the NBA and NHL. And live in-game betting, forget about it. They pioneered it. They've perfected it. They have MLB early payout offers. And throughout the football season, they have Thursday Night Football $10 safety net bets. Sunday Night Football, $365,000 jackpot, so you can get a piece of the pie if you pick the right pieces. Monday Night Football, 50% profit boost on token on same game parlays, and then they have same game parlay NFL Sundays. There's so much going on throughout the year, and they have the best early payout offers in football. If you're a winner, if your team goes up by 17 points with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Download the app and use code PHLY365 when you sign up, and you'll find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers get $200 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code PHLY365, deposit $10, and place a $5 bet to get $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on spreads, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and physically located in PA. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Pretty good. Guys, I know you all are excited to catch NFL games live this season, but look, some of these ticketing apps, man, there are queues, there are login screens. I have had some bad experiences, and that is why you need to go to the Game Time app, which gives the advantage back to fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in just a few taps. It's incredibly easy to use, and the Game Time guarantee means you can trust that you'll get 100% tickets on time and at the best price. I kind of looked at what's coming up for the Eagles, and Jam, I think there's some pretty good tickets to get at John Mara's place in a few weeks. The New Jersey Giants, not the greatest team in the world, so go on Game Time. They're pretty cheap tickets for that. Game Time is the place where you can get seat views, and also the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. So guys, take the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code PHLY for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and use the redeem code PHLY for $20 off. Tap, ticket, go. Download the Game Time app today. And welcome back to the PHLY Eagles Show. Rich Hofmann, Jamie Lynch, presented by Bet365 and Ashley Furniture. James, I wanted to shout out the unsung hero of Sunday's game, and that is our guy, Fred Johnson.
Woo!
Remember the
said Fred.
Remember the video last year where I think he stepped in. I forget what exact game it was. It might have been the Bengals game where he did a nice job against Trey Hendrickson in that one. And after
no easy task.
Yeah, well, and after the game was over, everybody was like, "Hell yeah, Fred! Hell yeah, Fred!"
They love him in that locker room. The social media team clearly loves him. They go to him for like every piece of like social content they do. He must be like just a great personality because the team seems to love the guy.
Just hearing him interviewed, I'm not there like EJ is. I'm not there like ZB is at all times. But he just seems like a delightful person. And the Eagles actually, their tackles have been great, not only great players, but great interviews over the years. I mean, Mailata, before you knew he was going to be Jordan Mailata, and this crazy story where picks up a new sport in his 20s and becomes one of the best left tackles in the game, he was an amazing interview. Like when he was learning in Stoutland U, he's like, yeah, Stout's he's on me all the time. I don't really know what I'm doing. I mean, Lane Johnson, he shoots you straight all the time. One of the best interviews really for the past decade. But then you have Fred Johnson, who's this warm and kind of cuddly guy who comes in. And so you get to the point where a bunch of people were surprised when Matt Pryor got subbed into the game.
I asked Bo, we were watching together, like midway through the first quarter, you could just see Pryor was letting a lot of pressures up. And I was like, Bo, why is Fred Johnson not in over Pryor? And he was like, great question.
Jamie, you were right, because as it turned out, thank you, Julia, for putting up the graphic on the screen. Look, this was not all Matt Pryor's fault. Fred talked about this the other day. Right? He's probably a guard.
Yeah.
But they put him in because he had lined up at right tackle in practice.
And Fred had only gotten left. Yeah.
But look, we learned a couple of things from the game. One of them is that the Eagles need to be more aggressive on offense and push the ball to A.J. Brown down the field. The other thing we learned is that the Eagles have a swing tackle, Jamie. He doesn't need to practice there. Fred Johnson is better than Matt Pryor. And man, I mean, the stats bear it out. 4 3-and-outs on 5 drives for Matt Pryor. And then also a sack fumble, which unfortunately he was kind of responsible for with Jared Verse getting in there.
Yeah.
And then they insert Fred into the game. Was that the only reason that the Eagles improved? No.
It was a major reason. I mean, if we were doing the hockey 3 stars of the game, Rich, it's got to be Fred Johnson, Jordan Davis, and A.J. Brown, right?
Yeah. Do you think Fred's the third star?
I don't want to take anything away from Jalen because he had such a phenomenal second half. But like of those two, I think I give AJ a little bit more credit. Dissect that how you will. But I don't think Jalen has those opportunities of Matt Pryor's playing there in the second half. So therefore I have to bump Fred above Jalen. So I think those are my 3 stars of the game. Any disagreements?
No, I'm just thinking about
he changed the game.
Oh yeah. I mean, I was
Thank you, Fred.
Up in the press box and you were watching him against Verse and you're like, oh, this looks different. Like Fred is actually competitive against this guy, and frankly, he was handling him on a lot of,
which is impressive because Verse
rushes.
is a beast.
Awesome player. Awesome player.
By the way, has anybody gotten to the bottom of the Verse Jalen Carter chain? Like, was that the bet from last year's NFC Championship game? Did he Debo it? Like, what happened?
I was in the locker room. Jalen Carter had that
number 8
on.
was huge.
That was a nice piece of ice. It seems like they sort of they give each other a little you know what before the games. They seem like they're
good sports about it.
Good sports, but they're competitive and joking.
So it had to have been a bet. Did they bet each other a chain?
I feel like that thing was a lot of money. So Jalen Carter. Maybe he was one of the 3 stars of the game for winning that bet because, man, that was an expensive piece of jewelry.
Yeah.
It looked like. I'm actually now just thinking if football had the 3 stars of the game, because you know how in hockey they skate out on the ice. They do a little circle and wave
raise
to
the stick
crowd.
to the crowd.
That'd be really funny if Fred Johnson like ran out of the tunnel and waved to the crowd. It's not quite as smooth because he's not on the ice. Yeah, they like flash a spotlight on him too as he does it. I think the NFL should do that.
Do it. Everybody should. I think it's great. I think it's one of the best things hockey does. And ladies and gentlemen, your 3 stars of the Birds game: Fred Johnson, Jordan Davis, AJ Brown.
I know Merrill's not the public address announcer, but that would be unbelievably funny.
Yeah,
if they did.
That would be funny.
So that was
get some pyrotechnics involved. Like have them walk out and enjoy it.
Yeah. So Fred Johnson, I mean, what a steal from Howie Roseman.
Again by Howie.
Making the mistake to let him go, but getting him back and trading a 7th round pick. I don't know what James Gladstone is cooking up in Jacksonville. That Travis Hunter
Travis Hunter
does not look quite as good. Even
Travis Hunter guy.
Well, I mean, that might be the only thing he has.
It was free. It was a freebie.
Yeah. Anyway, good trade to get him back for a 7th round pick. I feel much better about the swing tackle situation with Fred Johnson. And by the way, like as much as the Eagles offense struggled in the first half of that game, to win a game and have 3 touchdowns in 4 drives without Lane Johnson, that's big time stuff, because we know the record without Lane Johnson through his career. I think they're like 50 games over 500 with Lane in his career. They're 8 games under 500 without Lane in his career. I'm actually surprised it's not worse because it just feels so difficult without Lane, because you don't even think about him. The Eagles just put him on an island at all times, and he handles his business, and that's why he's going to be a Hall of Famer. So for Fred Johnson to step in and for Jalen Hurts to kill it in an obvious passing situation in the second half, that was pretty awesome.
And kudos to Howie Roseman. Like, obviously, you couldn't predict a Nolan Smith injury, but like getting Darius Smith, it's one of your thinnest positions. He's never satisfied. He's always adding. And this Fred Johnson, trade again is another one of just like, okay, he's never satisfied. Like, we need a swing tackle. We got to get Fred back. So like, kudos to the front office for always being active and always addressing things.
And then the last thing we're going to get to before we bring in our guy, EJ, who hopefully will drop us some knowledge on the whole.
He just left the practice field. He texted us, so he'll be here momentarily.
Okay, good. I think we're timing this right. The Nolan Smith situation, EJ will offer any sort of intel that he got on that. But Jamie, the other thing that I wanted to talk about, and we're not usually a special teams pod here. Usually it's Kevin Patullo, it's Uncle Vic, and I feel like Kevin Patullo, we've talked a little bit too much about.
Michael Clay doesn't get much shine on this show.
No, he does not. And I thought Michael Clay is actually an interesting person because, man, during the game, watching John Mechie and Tank Bigsby fumble all of those kickoffs, it was frustrating. It was like, what are we doing here? I thought back to the video that EJ initially tweeted out of Tank Bigsby where he was muffing kickoffs at practice. I was like, did the Eagles just not have the right guys for this? And also the Eagles bring in with Gibson a new kick returner as well. We'll see if they use him. But
the knuckle puck.
Those kicks, and our friend Sean Syed had a good video on YouTube of the Rams kicker, Cardi. Look, the Rams kicker, not sure he had the right trajectory on field goals, and the Eagles took advantage of that. But man, that guy, you're right, the knuckle puck from Mighty Ducks D2, Russ Tyler, Keenan Thompson.
Wait, did you know that off the top of your head, Russ Tyler?
Oh yeah, I'm unbelievably good at remembering character names in movies.
Really?
And also, look, the Mighty Ducks.
You could have given me 2 million chances. I don't think I would have ever gotten to Russ Tyler. That's really good work by you. Damn.
Russ Tyler, South Central Los Angeles.
Yeah, the knuckle puck. Yeah. That's awesome.
It drives goalies crazy. Anyway, I do like D2 Mighty Ducks, but I take pride in that. My girlfriend gets mad at me. I'll get out my phone during a show and I'll be like, what is this actor? Like, have I seen him and stuff? I'm always that person. I'm always reading the character names.
That's great.
Yeah, so I don't have a great attention span, I would say, with that. But Josh Carty, some of those kicks, as Sean showed us the end zone view, are very difficult. And these two kick returners have to deal with the entire length of the field. And Michael Clay in his press conference was talking about, yeah, we got to get those guys, being like a shortstop. And I was thinking like, man, shortstops don't have to catch oblong shaped footballs that could bounce in any single direction.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, people were getting on Tank and I brought it up in the postgame. I was like, what is up with those kickoffs? I've never seen anything like that. I do. Somebody said, and I forget who, so I forget who to credit. It was probably Bo or EJ. I wonder if it did affect the trajectory of his kicks. I wonder if he's put so much muscle memory and work into these kickoffs that it kind of screws him up on those field goals. I don't know, but that was wild. And I wonder if there's going to be copycats that try to follow.
To use a golf analogy, it felt like he was hitting a stinger with his hybrid.
Yeah.
On the kickoffs, but he just needed to hit a very straight 6-iron on the kick. And he took the wrong club out of his bag. He probably looked down at his leg and was like, I took the wrong club. Dang, that was bad. Yeah. But anyway, what he's doing on those kickoffs, and it wasn't just the Eagles too. In the first few weeks, he had kind of embarrassed the Texans and the Titans as well.
It's wild.
So he's pretty good at those. Hopefully the Eagles get better, but it looks like with these new rules and the kickers, and by the way, like Roger Goodell, maybe you want to ban this.
This seems unfair.
Unstoppable play. But it does seem like there is an element of like, this is important, the kickoff now, because if a player can hit a knuckleball into that 20-yard landing zone and it bounces, I think these kick returners are going to have a tough time. So maybe you move the guys up, maybe you move them more towards the middle. I am going to be interested to see what Michael Clay and Joe Peasy, as Jalen Carter called him. That was the other great part of the post-game locker room. Joe Panunzio, a guy who was coached for 45 years, the Eagles' assistant special teams coach. Jalen Carter calls him Joe Peasy. Love that.
Joe's got to love that, right?
Oh, yeah, they should change the name of his on the official bio to Joe Peasy. Anyway, I'm interested to see what they cook up because I actually, the more I watched it, that seemed like a harder problem to deal with than initially being frustrated. Like, why can't these guys just catch the ball? So
yeah, poor Tank. He was dealing with the knuckle puck.
Drives goalies crazy.
Yeah, drives kick returners crazy.
I mean, it was just straight, and the guy just, he couldn't. In the Mighty Ducks movie, I didn't think it was actually that.
It wasn't that wild. Yeah,
it just went up.
It didn't go like sideways. It just went up and down.
Pretty straight. Yeah,
stay in front of it.
That Iceland goalie had no shot to stop those two. Okay, that is enough on Mighty Ducks D2. We are going to talk to EJ Smith on the other side of this break after we hear from a couple more of our friends. Whether your favorite team wins or not, there is always another way to win, and that is on the BetParx online casino app. Check out brand new casino games like Huff and More Puff and Fire Blaze Sky Queen, a BetParx exclusive. It's the only app I ever use to play all of my favorite casino games right there in the palm of my hand. You can play blackjack, roulette, craps, poker, baccarat, and hot online slots like Cash Eruption, 88 Fortunes, and Cleopatra online slots. On your favorite streaming shows, they have some of the online slots based on them. Walking Dead, Squid Game, Breaking Bad, and my favorite, Peaky Blinders, little Tommy Shelby action, and all of your favorite classic casino games from wherever you are. New users get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down in the first 24 hours. Go to betparx.com and download the app right now and enjoy all the action and excitement from the casino at your fingertips. You must be 21 in PA, New Jersey, Maryland, or Michigan for BetParx. You love to play, you love to win, you bet. BetParx. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monarch Money. Let me just tell you what a lifesaver this is, because my life is busy. I got 2 young kids. I got this job that consumes me, which I love. I'm busy. I don't have a lot of time to organize my financials. And if you're busy, like so many people are, Monarch Money is built for you because they do the heavy lifting. Here's an example. At home, my kids are now old enough to use the remote. And what do? They're ordering PBS Kids specials and programs. They're going on Netflix and Nintendo Switches and buying stuff. They don't know what money is. They don't know it comes out of mom and dad's hard-earned checking account. Well, Monarch Money saved my bacon because they caught these things that we didn't approve. We didn't even know about because the kids didn't tell us about it. So Monarch Money kept our money in our pockets by catching these things for us. You need that last line of defense with your finances. Don't leave money on the table. It's easy to get complacent and not pay attention. Let Monarch Money do the hard work for you. They can track every dollar. They can know if you're spending things you didn't sign up for. It was named the best budgeting app of 2025 by the Wall Street Journal. Forbes has written about them. CNBC, everybody praises Monarch Money. Money can break couples up. Monarch Money brings couples back together. Don't fight about money. Let Monarch Money have your back. So don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code PHLY at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code PHLY.
And welcome back to the PHLY Eagles Show, presented by Bet365 and Ashley Furniture. I believe we have the man, the myth, EJ Smith from the NovaCare Complex. There he is.
No devil's microphone.
Yeah, you just got AirPods today. I hope you guys can hear me all right.
Yeah, you sound great.
EJ, you sound great. Great setup. When we're here, we're just going to compliment you on that stuff. We're
We'll
positive
never bully you, EJ.
You got to build me back up. Yeah.
Absolutely. And EJ, I think I need to be built back up because this Nolan Smith injury, man, it kind of came out of nowhere. What have you sort of heard about it? I know you were just at practice. Did this come as a major surprise to you as well?
Yeah, I think came out of nowhere is a good way to characterize it. He obviously made it through the game against the Rams without any apparent injury, but it has been pretty evident that he's been dealing with a triceps, the recovery of that triceps injury that he suffered in the Super Bowl. Obviously, he played through it in the Super Bowl, and now there's reporting from ESPN and NFL Network that it is a re-injury or a tweaking of that triceps injury that's going to hold him out. The sense I get is that Nolan Smith, Jakorian Bennett, and Darius Cooper, who all went on injured reserve, none of these injuries require surgery. They should all, have a chance to return mid-season. I'm hearing as soon as, after the bye week in week 9. So, these aren't necessarily season enders. They're not something that they're not something that should necessarily hold them out for a significant amount of time, but landing on IR, they're going to miss at least 4 or 5 games here.
So EJ, again, not a season ender. The Eagles are going to have to find a way to get through this, but for these next 4 weeks, this edge group was not the deepest group that the Eagles had. Nolan Smith was their highest snap guy by a mile. I know they've had a couple guys who have been inactive for all of the games as well. What do you expect the Eagles to do here over these next few weeks?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Patrick Johnson was inactive against the Rams, and he might be somebody that makes sense to put back onto the active roster for game day. He was active for the first 2 games, but he's more of a special teams edge guy than he is necessarily somebody that you view as someone with pass rush juice. So then you look at Azeez Ojulari or Obo Okoronkwo, both of whom have been inactive this season, but do offer a little bit more as pass rushers. So, the reality is I think that this probably affects Darius Smith more than just about anybody else, because I think, as he gets more comfortable with the defense, obviously signed, after week 1. So as he gets more comfortable with the defense, I think you could see him take on a more expansive role and probably eat up most of those Nolan Smith snaps. But yeah, where the depth snaps where the depth snaps go from there, I think is going to be interesting. I think it might be, I'm kind of torn between Azeez Ojulari and Patrick Johnson here. I think, again, I could see it being Patrick Johnson just because he's been ahead of Azeez Ojulari, but maybe the Eagles think that they can get something out of Azeez Ojulari, even though he's been inactive, now that they have some pass rush snaps theoretically up for grabs.
So, EJ, this is kind of a 2-parter here. 1, can you update us on Jihaad out on the practice field today? And then 2, is there any scenario where Vic gets super creative and maybe gives Jihaad some packages on the edge with maybe Trot Jr. taking over some linebacking? Or is that like one of those don't want to weaken 2 positions to strengthen 1 type of things? How do you view that possibility? And also update us on the practice today.
Yeah, so Jihaad Campbell was not participating in practice while we were out there. He didn't have his helmet during the individual period. So yeah, definitely going to be looking for his name on that injury report to see what's going on. He didn't look like he had any like braces or sleeves or anything on. So, but it's a good question, Jamie, especially with Nakobe Dean coming back from the physically unable to perform list. Like he's a guy who could take some of those off-ball linebacker snaps if you wanted to make Jihaad Campbell a part of that edge rushing group. I think that, especially with the injuries, we could talk about Jakorian Bennett out. Adoree Jackson was at practice. So I'm starting to wonder, though, if like the Eagles' best package or best 11 comes in their base defense with Jihaad Campbell and Zach Bond sort of serving as guys who can drop down to the edge and offer something at that position to sort of compensate for the lack of snaps you're going to be getting at that spot now that Nolan Smith is out. So it'll be interesting. I think that Jihaad Campbell, obviously he's got the versatility to do some of those jobs on the edge. He's not a conventional edge rusher by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, I think they're going to have to be creative. And honestly, they were going to have to be creative even before the Nolan Smith injury, because as Nakobe Dean works back to health, I mean, it's hard to know exactly what kind of role he's going to have because of how good the Eagles linebackers have been. But, this injury does kind of open up an interesting scenario where maybe Jihaad Campbell does move around the formation to facilitate Nakobe Dean getting some snaps.
And any other updates on, I don't know, maybe Defensive Player of the Year candidate, stud linebackers that had an interception early last week?
Yeah, it's very pointed. There's really only one person that could fit that description. Zach Bond, he was going through individual drills. So, that doesn't seem like we'll see if he participated in team again with the injury report later today. But I noticed that he had a pretty heavy brace on his left leg that I don't remember seeing him wear before. So, again, he didn't look, hobbled or anything like that during the portion we were out there for, but definitely something to monitor, the fact that he's added the brace. And then the only other thing I had from practice that I wanted to let you guys know is Lane Johnson was at practice. He had his helmet on. He was moving his head. I made sure to keep an eye on his head movement. But yeah, he did not go through individual periods also. He watched off to the side, but still, I'd say pretty encouraging that he was out there wearing a helmet and kind of being able to at least move around a little bit. I definitely think he's on track to play.
Nothing worse than when you sleep funny on your neck. I know Lane got that in a much more kind of violent manner, but man, you kind of.
Oh yeah, you turning like this.
Driving's hard.
Driving's impossible.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll talk about more nonsense and some football stuff with EJ on the other side of overtime.
Is it still Bovertime if there's no bow? Or are we just
No.
overtime?
No, it's
gutter
overtime.
roll.
It's just
overtime.
Okay.
It's overtime.
Yeah, just regular overtime.
Yeah, we got to take him down a peg or two,
EJ, I saw somebody, I don't know if it was you, tweet out, Nick Sirianni got asked about CJGJ, who I think the Eagles can sign. I thought that was a pretty confusing rule, the way the NFL wrote that up. But Nick Sirianni was asked about CJGJ, and what did he say?
Yeah, he basically expressed contentment with the safety group that they have. He said he's happy with the players that they have. Talked about Andrew Nakobe and how they're excited about him, and really how playing next to Reed Blankenship is helping speed up his development. So it wasn't an outright no, which I do think is always noteworthy and important to point out that it wasn't a flat no, but it was a pretty strong vote of confidence in the position group as it stands currently. So yeah, no, I agree with you that like the way that one rule is worded, I understand why some people would attribute that to the situation. But I was texting Sean Syed to like just decipher some of like the legalese with some of these rules. And I think I'm pretty confident that he is eligible to sign for the Eagles, but I don't think that they're there yet. Maybe injuries could lead to something there, but right now I think that they're pretty happy with the group that they have.
Makes sense. There's one other thing I thought. Did Nick get asked about Tom Brady? Because this is my favorite pet peeve to get mad about. That Tom Brady is in the production meetings, but he also and the Eagles are the number one game of the week. You got 2 3-0 games. There are 2 3-0 teams playing this week, but he's also got a headset for a team that the Eagles are going to play a few months down the line as well. I thought Nick got asked about that?
Yeah, it was back on Friday that he was asked about Tom Brady, and he basically said that he doesn't divulge much in those meetings, so he's not overly worried about it. I think he said something nice about Tom Brady too, and that is fair. Nick does not give a lot of stuff. He's very he's very concerned about the competitive advantage lost in divulging much up there. It's funny listening to Todd Bowles' press conference today because he's just very to the point, very honest, similar to Vic. in that. So it's definitely not the way that Nick chooses to handle press conferences. He keeps it close to the chest.
That's very funny that during a press conference with the entire Eagles media corps, he's like, yeah, guys, like, this is useless anyway. Like, I'm not, I'm giving Tom Brady the same thing I'm giving you guys. Yeah.
EJ, Adoree Jackson or Zadarius Smith, the more important Eagle over the next 4 weeks?
Well, that's a good question. I would probably say Zadarius Smith,
That's what my
just
bet was.
because if Adoree Jackson struggles, you still have Keely Ringo. You still have the run base, pull Cooper DeJean outside if in a case of emergency. You have some levers you can pull if Adoree Jackson struggles. If Zadarius struggles or gets hurt, I don't really know what this edge group really looks like at that point. So yeah, it's crazy to think that they just signed the guy and now he's become this important.
EJ, last one from me. The Tampa Bay Bucs scare me because the Eagles always lose when they play down there, and it's always 100 degrees when they play down there.
It looks like a high of 87 with a 40% chance of rain. I was just looking.
Well, look, you play Tampa in September. It's going to be warm and humid and all of that stuff. So
well, it's humid here today, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too much different from.
Yeah, it's not Tampa.
I put the air on last night again. The humidity was gross. Yeah, I'm weak.
Yeah, that's fair. I just have it on at all times. It's fine. The last thing I wanted to ask you, EJ, they are going down a day early, right? And they might work out on Saturday, something like that. What are their plans? And I guess this has happened so many times, and they've struggled in the heat and struggled adjusting in the early season that they're going to change it up a little bit here.
Yeah, this is a new idea they have because of the fact that they, like you said, they've been there so many times, and the visual of like CJ Gardner-Johnson in a cold tub with an IV last year really stands out as like how much they struggled with the conditions last year. And I think it's important to point out, like, the Bucs know how to use that to their advantage. You know, at home in the heat, they have a tendency to try to draw out drives. Todd Bowles talked today about like whoever has the ball more in these types of games usually ends up winning because of the fact that you're just wearing down a defense over the course of the game. So yeah, I think that, I mean, how much validity, how much is it really going to help going down an extra day? I guess we'll find out. But yeah, I think that they're just trying something different because they have struggled with those elements so much. Among other things. I mean the Todd Bowles blitz packages, how exotic his pressure looks are. I mean, it's proven to be difficult for the offense and Jalen Hurts in particular. So it's not just the heat, but I do think they're trying to figure out ways to get around it.
So EJ, last one from me. Tampa, kind of a sneaky good road trip in terms of the NFL landscape, in my opinion. You getting a Publix sub? You got any spots in Tampa? What's the plan for EJ on Saturday?
So I usually go to the steakhouse called Burns, and
I've been there, awesome the dessert
steakhouse.
room.
Yeah. Oh, the dessert room. So it's funny. I was talking to some of my colleagues about if I can just go for dessert this time, because I mean, we've been there so much that I'm a little bit like, okay, let's try a different place. I went to an Italian place. I can't remember the name of it, but they do this like tableside mozzarella there. I'm going to try to get there. Yeah.
You had me at tableside. Burns is a little bit of a drive too, isn't it? Like 30 minutes outside downtown.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Okay. I was kind of drunk when I was there.
I went with my wife last year, and they have a dessert there that's like my favorite dessert ever. So
it's pretty cool.
So spot. Yeah, I might try to get there just for the dessert room.
Nice.
Well, what's the dessert?
They have a whole upstairs room that they take you to after the meal.
No, but what is EJ's favorite dessert? Is it a
It's
specific
like
dessert?
a gourmet Reese's cup is the best way I could describe it. It's like a peanut butter mousse with like a chocolate casing on it. It's very, very good.
Somebody at Frank Barber in the chat says you got to get some Cuban food.
Okay. Yeah. I'm all on board with that. I mean, yeah, public sub, something.
The pub sub, everybody talks about them. I've still never had one because I just never stop. But apparently the pub subs are pretty good.
Yeah, I'll have to try it. I'm not above a public sub.
What about the crab legs?
Hey, Jameis didn't deserve that.
Make sure you pay for those. Okay, EJ, thank you for joining us. EJ will be back tomorrow, I believe, with Bo and Fran. Got a little swooper going on, and then
the swooper could get weird this week with the all the injuries.
Yeah, it could. I'm sure everybody will get creative tomorrow in trying to win swooper. All right, EJ, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow, man.
Thanks for having me, guys. Take care.
See you, AJ.
Tampa, great food city.
Underrated, like Florida City. I don't know if underrated is the right word. I think my favorite Florida city.
I just love the idea that you're calibrating so many Florida cities that they're
Orlando
underrated.
sucks, right?
Okay.
It's landlocked. What's the point? Miami's just not my scene.
I'm not a big Miami guy.
Clearwater Beach is awesome, but it's not a city. Tampa's good. I like Tampa. St. Pete's awesome. And
Isn't Jacksonville not that great?
Jacksonville sucks. My dad was born in Jacksonville. It's terrible.
Well,
He was an Army
I've
brat.
never been to Jacksonville, so I'm not.
St. Augustine.
I'm not trying to bag on a city. Okay, St. Augustine.
No, Jacksonville sucks. Bang on it.
Well, I just remember when the Eagles played the Super Bowl there.
Anthony said it was the worst experience of his life.
Everybody was like, "Why is the Super Bowl here?"
I think the NFL was like, we can never do this again. I think that speaks volumes as to what Jacksonville is.
Yeah. So, okay, underrated Florida City.
Yeah, I like
sure.
Tampa. Tampa's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think a bunch of people probably listening to the show have been down for Philly spring training. That whole area, Clearwater.
Yeah, Clearwater Beach
Eden.
is great.
It's great. Yeah, obviously the Gulf right there, a little bit different than the Jersey Shore. I would say
A little bit. Yeah.
in terms of the visuals and everything. That's pretty much all we got, James. What are we leaving with? I will say Todd Bowles, he feels like the final boss for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, even if Jalen Hurts already won a Super Bowl. It's like for some reason Todd Bowles just has always gotten the better of him.
Yeah,
Jalen got him in the there was one early season Monday Night Football game where the Eagles won, but you have the 2 playoff games. You have the game last year as well, where those blitz packages have been tough. Now, I will say last year's game was almost a confluence of bad events for the Eagles. They were without Lane. They were without AJ and Devontae, I believe. So they really didn't have a great chance as well. Uncle Vic did not have the defense settled. I remember Avonte Maddox getting picked on quite a bit by the Bucs in that game. And right after the bye, he went to Cooper DeJean in the nickel. But this has been a team that has given the Eagles fits after the Eagles play the Rams, who they always seem to beat. Even when they get outplayed on a play-to-play basis for a lot of that game, they find a way to beat the Rams. Tampa, it's sort of been the opposite story.
Yeah, Todd Bowles, I think, famously got mislabeled as the guy that said Hurts can't read the blitz in that playoff game because I think it was like the secondary coach or somebody that was actually saying it. But Todd Bowles clearly has been a thorn in the side of the Eagles. I mean, the Bucs just annoy the hell out of me.
Sure.
Getting back to Monty Kiffin, and Joe Jervis.
Joe Jervis, just that long catch.
Oh my God, and Rondé Barber. I hate the Bucs. I hate them.
That ruined my childhood, that catch.
Absolutely.
I could still see Barry Gardner, the backup linebacker, chasing him. Couldn't keep up with him.
I hate the Bucs.
Sure.
Like Tampa, I hate the Bucs.
Okay, fair enough. All right. I think on that note, I would agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna send it to close out the show here. Another bow for I was trying to work in
overview.
A overview. Boaterview.
Okay, we'll get to
didn't
that.
work at all.
I also wanted to shout out Charles in the chat by saying that.
So you've come around.
Well, when you're talking about the chat, you say the chat.
Yeah,
when you're addressing the chat, you say, chat, what do you got for me? I like that distinction.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, I like that distinction. So we're going to do a Bo review where Bo is talking with Adam Hoge, our all-city NFL insider, about a bunch of Eagles topics, about the AFC being overrated. After it's over, the show will be over, and we will be back tomorrow with Bo, EJ, and Fran for Swooper. And until then, I'll say, we love you.
All right, we are back on the PHLY Eagles podcast for our bi-weekly check-in with the All-City NFL analyst, Adam Hoge from Chicago. How you doing, Mr. Hoge?
What's up, Bo? I'm fired up for, I'm sure we got to talk about last week a little bit. The Eagles have, in this middle of, like, the Rams game felt like a playoff, like it could be a playoff game to me. I think this coming game against the Bucs, either of these could be NFC Championship matchups to me.
Yes. Well, last time you were here, you told us that you thought the Bucs were maybe the second best team in the NFC. So we've got a big matchup coming up on Sunday.
That's right.
Do you stand by that through 3 weeks?
I do, because they're surviving. The Bucs are, every single week somebody else is out. Now it's Mike Evans, but now Godwin's coming back. They got 3 offensive linemen out. Tristan Wirfs should be coming back. So if I actually thought that they would be struggling a little bit more than they are early on in the season, and then once they get fully healthy, it was when they really turned it on in the second half of the season. So the fact that they're still going here and they have 3 wins in the last minute, 3 game-winning drives. I just keep saying this about. I'm sorry, Baker. I'm a Baker guy. I hope the Eagles have a great week against them this week, but I've loved this guy. He's a gamer. He's entertaining. There's a great mic'd up video the Buccaneers put out. It's like 7 minutes long, which is great because sometimes you get these mic'd up videos.
Yeah, just their reaction.
Like, here's
to the
30
big play.
seconds from one play. It's like, no, I want to see the whole game. I want to see and I'm sure they cut out plenty, but it's still very, very entertaining. So Baker Mayfield's a gamer. This will be tough. This will be a tough game. And ultimately, I did say I think the Eagles will still go to the Super Bowl because the game will be played in Philly, but this one's in Tampa. And
this has been a house of horrors for the Eagles. So Eagles fans are accustomed to losing this game. You will appreciate, Hoge, that Vic is with you. He spoke yesterday about Baker Mayfield and in a very beautiful Vic way found a way to throw the rest of the league under the bus. He says, like, I've always liked Baker Mayfield. I don't really understand why all the teams that have had him have moved on from him, but general managers make mistakes just like coaches make mistakes.
Well, he's probably scared because in the most like diabolical, that's how you say that word. Yeah. Baker just the way he's dialed up. Did you see that in his post-game press conference the other day? He's like, well, that defensive coordinator on the other side, he's the one that cut me in Carolina. So, I was thinking about that. So Vic's just trying to get on his good side, I think. I think he's just playing. He's like, no. I love you, Baker.
Yeah. That is smart.
I'm a huge fan.
He's been around the block. There's no fooling Vic. So what was your reaction to the way that this Eagles game played out last Sunday and the full second half turnaround? And this has been a team that for a while people have said, well, yeah, they're so good, but they're so used to playing from ahead. Would they be able to pass if they get down? And for them to answer that, down 26-7 and really throw the ball for the first time all year long consistently, I found very encouraging. It was kind of like the best case scenario where you get the come to Jesus moment. Oh yeah, we can't just play this way on offense all season long, and you still get the win out of it.
Well, yeah, and it helps me because I've been trying to sit here and be like, hey, the Eagles are still the best team in the league. I think they can turn it on when they need to. They just haven't had to. So thank you, Eagles, for putting yourself in that awful position to be in behind 19 points that you don't want to be in because especially against a good team like this wasn't. I think the Rams are good and they have enough pieces on offense, which I think we'll get into a little bit with how the Eagles defended them. That I would have been, and I was worried when it was 26-7. I'm like, well, even if the Eagles turn this on, are they going to be able to shut down the Rams from this point on in the game? Which was the other side of that, right? Mm-hmm. You got to prevent them from scoring at the same time if you're going to come back, and they did. So I'm sure Vic made, and we've seen this already. I think early on in the Eagles season, they did it against the Cowboys in Week 1. You make those adjustments, and all of a sudden, even though the game started with the other team, and it was a little bit different. I mean. It's not like the Rams were on fire in the first quarter. This took a little while to get going before they ended up with those points in the second quarter. But I think to your point, Bo, really good test, really good opportunity for the Eagles and especially Jalen Hurts to say, hey, look, we can do this. I dropped Devonta Smith for my fantasy team last week because really like okay, they're just well. And here's the thing I'll say about that.
What are you in like an 8-team league?
10-team league.
Hoge, yeah. You're a grown man. We got to get out of a 10-team league.
Yeah, it's all my college buddies, and
get 2 more
they're
friends.
All Packer fans. Yeah, that's true. That's true. What I was going to say though is, I still feel like, and not that we're going to all of a sudden turn this into a fantasy show, but the Eagles are going to be a tough team to rely on for passing touchdowns throughout the season.
For sure,
because I do think. They prove they can do it, and there's going to be games like this where they will do it because they have to. But I still think what their identity is, and it's a good thing. This is a good thing to have if you're in Philly and you're as good as they are. You can just be the team that grinds it on the ground and doesn't have to worry about throwing for 300 yards every single game and get away with. Aren't they 19-1 in their last 20 games now?
Yeah, 17-0 in the last 17 games that Jalen has started and finished. Yeah.
why force things you don't need to do until you have to do it? And so yes, it's great they got put in that position where they had to show that they still can do it. They obviously can. They have AJ Brown, Devonta. Don't get me wrong. I just because I dropped him from my fantasy team does not think I don't think Devonta Smith's good. He is. So it's just more of a. This is who the Eagles are, and I know you guys talk about this every single week, and everybody wants flashy games through the air. That's fun and all that, but you know what's more important is winning. And so when you're winning as many times as the Eagles are, you live with it.
I think there's a happy medium. I think they can do that, but the other truth is that passing the ball a little bit more is going to be better for the run game. I mean, there's obviously this symbiosis, right? And so through the first 3 games of the season, their running game on a like an efficiency basis, success rate wise, is actually like a little bit better than it was last season, but they're not popping anything big. And I think part of the reason for that is because teams are not scared of the passing game right now. And so you hope that those two things sort of, bounce back and forth as the season continues.
Yeah, that's fair. And we all fall in this trap a week to week where we're like, oh,
totally.
This is who this team is because it's this week. And when in reality, teams evolve throughout the season. I think the best coaches treat every week like it's its own season. And I know that sounds cliche, and we're just trying to go 1-0, but there's not enough coaches that actually follow that, where they get stuck in, no, this is who we're going to be. This is, I don't care what the other team's doing. We're worried about us. Well, I think actually the better coaches go, actually, we are worried about what the other team does well. And we have the ability to mold our offense into what it needs to be to win this week. And there's a point of all this is I think the Eagles have that ability, and I think they are well coached. And so I do think there will be certain weeks where they can open it up a little bit more, through the air, in whatever it takes to win. Right. And right now the Eagles over the last 2 seasons have shown that they can do that.
Yeah, this Bucs matchup is interesting from that point because it was the same week that these two teams played last season, week 4, and the Bucs just lit up the Eagles defense. And we would have said then that like this Eagles defense is not very good. They got a lot to work on. And like 3 weeks later, they were the best defense in the NFL. So Vic Fangio does deserve a little bit of credit for, or a little bit of patience for working things in. You were a little bit interested in the way that Quinyon was shadowing Devontae Adams and not Puka Nacua, which makes sense because Puka moves around and you have Cooper DeJean inside. What was Vic's, like, did he have guys shadow opposing wide receivers in Chicago?
Wow, you put me on the spot. They didn't do that a whole. I don't think so.
There wasn't like a guy.
Well, so the guy ended up being Kyle Fuller, but it took a few years. And actually, Vic was very instrumental in Kyle's career sort of being resurrected because it wasn't going well. And they had sort of a disagreement over, I want to say it was a hamstring injury and how severe it was. And Kyle ended up sitting out most of a season over it. But then when it was all said and done, those two got super close and Kyle Fuller became a really, really good player. But I feel like the shadowing aspect was not something that did a whole lot off the top of my head. To me, it was more about, and this is a great sign for the Rams, I think, and why I don't know that Devontae Adams would have been a great signing in too many spots, but I think it is a great spot for the Rams because they have this talent in Puka that's so good. And I think this was a great example of if you can put a Devontae Adams out there and make that defensive coordinator, and as good as Vic Fangio is, have to choose, and they choose wrong a little bit, then, or just because of how you line up Puka, it's not necessarily wrong. It's just how it works out, which is what I'm sure Vic Fangio was thinking. Devontae Adams is certainly more of your, at this point in his career, probably more of your traditional X receiver, I guess you'd say, where maybe when he was back with the Packers, they would use him a little bit more in the slot. But regardless, Puka's talented. Having another guy out there opens up those opportunities for him. And I think that's what you saw, especially in the first half against the Eagles. But you make adjustments, and eventually the Eagles were able to slow them down to the point where they were able to make that comeback.
I want to circle back to, the idea of us getting a little bit static in our analysis of like what a team is, but also what a player is, because players are also allowed to get better, not only over the course of their career, but over the course of a season. Last year, we saw it like Nolan Smith. I have never seen anybody, get that much better over the course of a season as he did. And the big story for the Eagles right now is Jordan Davis and him really seeming to take this leap in year 4, playing more snaps, being more impactful, all of those things. Who are guys, just from your career who come to mind in like taking that surprising leap sort of mid-career?
Well, the one for me, since
To
you
put you
brought
on
up
the
a
spot
defensive,
again. Yeah.
yeah, no, but I have a great answer for this one, and especially because it's another defensive lineman. But Akeem Hicks,
Okay.
Akeem Hicks
Great one.
he was drafted by the Saints and just never really fit in there. Ends up spending a year in New England, where it started to click a little bit more, to the point that when he became a free agent after that season, Belichick really didn't want to lose him. But he hadn't quite shown enough for them to be able to, throw big money at him. And it's not like the Bears threw big money at him either, but it was more. And this comes back around to Fangio, because he comes over to the Bears under Vic Fangio, and this turns out to be the not only the perfect scheme for him, but I also think the perfect moment in his career where it was just kind of like the right place, right time for him to take off. So the Bears, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they signed him to a pretty modest 2-year contract, I want to say. And within and going along the same lines in terms of improving as long as the season goes along, at first it's like, oh, who is this guy? How's he fit? Hasn't really worked out in the past. And then like as that season went along, oh man, this guy is a really good player. And he ended up being, to me, the most important player on that defense. When he wasn't in there, the defense looked completely different. It certainly changed a lot of things for how Fangio would have to call things when Akeem Hicks wasn't out there. He ends up getting a massive deal with the Bears after that. And it was one of those rare situations in football where a guy like correctly gets rewarded for ascending the way he did, and then lived up to the contract too once he had it, and then sort of just reached that wall, especially defensive linemen, because they have a limited shelf life for where they play in the trenches. So that would be the best example for me. But yeah, I think if you're the Eagles right now with Jordan Davis, you got to be pretty excited, and especially I get excited as a special teams guy. The way you're going to get that effort on that block in such a huge moment, and then you could say it's stupid that he returned it. It probably was, but I don't care. I'm here for the highlights.
Gets that.
I loved it. Yeah.
If there was any time on the clock, you can say it was stupid, but the game's over. Let him do it.
Yeah, I mean, sure, there could be some weird scenario, but no, you pick up that ball, big man, and you get that big man touchdown. I loved it. Now, if you were on the Rams plus 3.5 or plus 4.5, wherever you got them, that was brutal for you. So I'm
going to put you on the spot again. This is a very difficult trivia question, but that touchdown from Jordan Davis, only the second touchdown this century by someone at least 330 pounds, and they went over 50 yards on the touchdown. Do you have any guesses on who might have been the big fella who scored a 50-plus yard touchdown?
Is it one I should know?
No, not really. It's very difficult for me to ask you.
Okay, no, because the Bears had one. I'm just forgetting if that was still in the century.
It was an NFC North player at the time. Guy who bounced around, but he was an NFC North player at the time.
I don't know. Was it like B.J. Raji or something? Because he scored plenty of touchdowns against the Bears.
It was Sean Rogers on a pick 6 for the Lions.
Okay.
Just a little something to finish the hit for you, Hoge. Thank you so much.
I always love
before we let you go, tomorrow the power rankings will be up on allphly.com. Will the Birds be at the top again?
Yeah, I mean, how could they not be? I mean, they're not really giving me a reason. Now, maybe if they had lost this game, but Jordan Davis saved them. I'm still high in this Eagles squad. I think they're well coached, especially Vic Fangio. You guys know how I feel about that. So they'll still be number one, spoiler alert. But it is starting to get interesting below them. And another trend, I'll just leave you with this. If we're not paying attention, the NFC is starting to look stronger than the AFC overall. So if this looked like a one-horse race at the start of the season with the Eagles, I don't know. There's some tough competition. I think one of those teams is the Bucs this week. And then I know the Packers slipped up in Cleveland, but I still think they're going to be tough. So we'll see how they bounce back.
This is a pet peeve of our friend Handsome Rich over here, that everybody's always talking about like the AFC is better. Like let's let's calm down with that. We don't know that. Yeah.
No, I think the NFC's coming on this year pretty strong.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Hoge. We will talk to you in 2 weeks, and enjoy the Bears game this Sunday.
Thanks, Bo.
We all silly like the mayor.